Hey, what's up you guys? I'm the Solidworks nerd, and today I have a rollback review. And lo and behold, it is a Hearthstone card. So I made this for one of my friends. I want to 3D print this out, and you can see you can customize the name on it and other things like that. It also has a back. This thing is substantially thick, and it's awesome in my opinion. It's even got the proper font that is actually used in the Hearthstone card. So without further ado, let's get rolling. Okay, so we're going to go into our first sketch. We're going to show this, and you see we have our sample card. And whenever I use sketch pictures like this, I tend to leave the sketch picture alone in its own sketch, so you're not putting a whole bunch of other geometry that you need to refer to. So if you want to hide it and show it, it's a lot easier. Okay, so the way I dimensioned this is I made this rectangle the size of a standard playing card in the United States, 3.5 by 2.5 inches, and I have a 188 radius corner there. So next thing I did was the portrait ring, and literally all I do by not hide the whole body. Well, anyway, you can actually hide the whole body. Never mind. And you just honestly just put some ellipses, space them out properly, and I believe I dimensioned them too. And I put the sketch on the top plane, and I extrude out, I believe it's just twice the thickness as this part over here, just so it really gives it some depth. It really pops out. And just to fill out this extra part that sticks out of the card, I have an extrude filling that in. And just to make everything look nice, I cut that step. So you see there's a step here. It's not gonna look very good, but cutting that, and I believe I just use a convert entities on the ellipse, and I cut it out to be a little bit deeper than this part over here. Yeah, I'm just trying to make this card really pop. Just have a lot of depth to it. Alright, description box. Just a standard cut extrude rectangle. I just give it some reasonable dimensions. I think most of the things here are fully defined, which is surprising. Well, here we have, oh yes, we have a sketch of the gem. So I can hide that solid body. Go away. Yes, I just literally trace over it, which is the beauty of sketch pictures. Believe this is on the top plane again. Oops, just gonna leave that line alone. And I left this underdefined, so in case I wanted to tweak it a little bit, but I got it pretty close. And yeah, I could dimension these if I want to. I just chose not to. Okay, so come back body. There we go. Okay, I spawn a new plane. And where exactly did I put this? Show plane. Okay, so this plane was the planned, I suppose, midpoint, or I guess the mid plane of the gem. So that's why that plane is there. I'm gonna hide that away again. Alright, we have our mana crystal. Right, so on that plane that I have, actually it was not the mid plane, it was the top. So I put a point where approximately all the lines meet, and this just takes a little bit of guesswork, but that's okay. Can hide and hide. Yeah, because this gem is all jagged. So I just put it like right there. It's pretty close. If I go normal too. Maybe I put a little bit above. It's all just all a little bit of guesswork. So showing these again, brings them back. Ah, yes, and then I mirror it. So all I do was I sketch this, I lock between them, and then I perform a mirror about the plane. So you can see that this is its own separate body and it's interfering with the card body, and we will eventually fuse these together using a combine. Okay, so here I try and get a little bit fancy. So just gonna hide these bodies again. Alright, so I noticed that this gem here, it looks kind of jagged. So what I decided to do was come back. Very good. Yeah, I use a delete face over in surfaces. So I delete these two faces, making this turn into a surface body. I'm gonna hide this. And well, actually, I'll leave the sketch picture there. Yeah, so you could see here are all the faces. Whoops, I don't want to fill anything. Here are all the faces that make up that gem. And then, yes, I do a 3D sketch, and I get a spline to try and follow the jaggedness of the gem over here. I try and mimic that over here, and I use a surface fill with a closed boundary made by this edge, and our newly born 3D sketch. I fill that in, and you notice it's not fused with the surface body because of these little blue edges. And then I just straight up surface fill the other part using a contact relation along the edge, I believe. I can pull up the feature. Yep, all contact. So let that solve out, and now you have a jagged looking mana crystal. And as I said before, these blue edges mean that they're not knitted to the surface body. So what we do, we take out our needles and knit it together. Very nice. I'm just gonna bring that back up. So we have our mana crystal. And then next, boss extrude 4. That is the attack indicator over here. So I just literally draw two concentric circles, and I extrude that out. Believe that they're also fully defined. Yeah, I just gave the inner one diameter of 1/2 an inch and the other one 5/8 of an inch. And just to make everything look nice. Oh, this is pretty cool. So to get the perfectly semicircular fillet, I believe I used a face fillet for this one. So we have our jagged edge there, and I'll open up this feature. Yep, so face fillet, and just pick this outer face, then this top face, then finally the inner face. And you will have, without a break in the center of this face, a nice smooth edge. Whoops, that's a little too far. Hold on. So, okay, we just did the fillet. Okay, now that was a fillet. Alright, and then I used a convert entity, and I just extruded it a certain distance from the top, from the top plane up, and let's see how much of it, literally 1/4 of an inch, just to really give it that depth. And it's looking a little jagged, so this is just a standard fillet. Nothing special there. Not to say that fillets aren't special, because they're awesome. Okay, and then we get to the health indicator over here. So I believe we can take a look at the sketch, but it's not too bad. Yeah, it's just a circle going to these two lines, and then I just probably use an offset. Yep, 16 thou. And then I extrude that profile, and I extrude it to what was the same height as this. In sketch 16, what are you? Okay, so I put a construction line. Oops, I don't want to sketch. I just want to look at it. Show. Oops, come back to me. Oh, okay. So what I did here was I booted up a sketch and made what is essentially an axis. So, because I want to make a plane that's going to describe how the slope of the blood drop comes in around here and comes up. So it's like, it looks like it's dripping. So I put the axis there, and then a plane, and I just define this probably by using the top plane as an angular reference, and this as a hinge, basically. And then I use a cut extrude. Yeah, so this one just quick and dirty. Just drew a rectangle, extruded, cut extruded the everything to the top. There we go. And then, not too far now. And then I believe I use another convert entities and extrude this blood drop. So there you go, you can see how that is. Again, multi-bodies, very nice. And since we already demonstrated what that does, I'm just going to hide these two guys away. And blood droplets should be round. So I put a nice mean fillet on it. There we go, it's pretty aggressive. Making it, really rounding it out. Yeah, 5/8 of an inch. 625 thou. Fillet 5, and that's another face fillet. No, not another face fillet. What are you? Oops. Yeah, so it's just a regular fillet. So this is an alternative way to doing this. I may have tried the face fillet. It may have given me problems due to this discontinuity over here, which is why I may have done it that way. If you could solve it out using the face fillet, I would, but there you go. So plane 3, show yourself. Okay, so it's just this mid plane. I probably picked as a reference that edge right there, created this plane. Plane 4. Where's plane 4? There's plane 4. No, it's the plane that is tangent to that face, I believe. And finally, plane 5. And let's give it a second to think. Alright, what are you, plane 5? And plane 5 is this top edge over here. Oh, this top face, excuse me. Hide, hide, hide. Alright, so I get a 3D sketch. Okay, so I use all those planes to help guide what is eventually to be the sword that is coming through. So if you wanted to just take a look at that, it's going to be interesting. I have these fully defined, probably with intersections. Go back out. Ooh, then I have a surface plane. So all I did was sketch the outline of the sword, and I'll get this other stuff out of the way so it's easier to see. So I'll hide this body away. Alright, you see how that's coming along? So I'm actually probably going to model the entire sword and just fuse it to the yellow gem here. Use a surface fill. just get this, since we have a closed boundary there, boundary surface. Alright, and I use the boundary surface to make the edges, well actually just this one edge of the sword, and boundary surface 2 should be the other side. There we go. You see, just building it one surface at a time. Sometimes it's just the way to go. Alright, I have a profile and a surface fill, and it just curves that surface right along our 3D sketch. It's great. And actually, I mean, some of you may be thinking that, why didn't you use a loft for this one? Well, I believe I tried that, and the problem is SolidWorks doesn't like lofting between a closed profile and a line. It just does not like that loft. And I say in my Aku Aku mask video, I had problems like that too, in which I solved probably kind of poorly by making a whole bunch of 3D sketches and connecting polygons together. That was very tedious. Probably a better way to do that. Anyway, so I had to build this up surface by surface. And then surface fill gives me our last edge. Alright, we have half of a blade, and if you look at it, it's not much of a blade at all. It's quite thick, especially when we mirror it over. But you know, it's just the aesthetic of the card. I just want this to have a very pronounced, strong look. So we have our surface knit, bringing this into the realm of the solid body. And we see our sketch. I'm gonna hide those away. Yeah, we are in the realm of the solid body. And of course, why model the whole thing when we can model half? So there you go. There's our blade. Not much of a blade, as I was saying, but there we go. So boss extrude 8. So since I made the end of this is planar, so I'm allowed to sketch on it. I approximated an ellipse. At least I could get the width down. I was just kind of guessing at the height of it. And so I drew that ellipse, and then just extruded it out just a little bit. You see, it covers pretty well, and it's appropriately sized for the blade. I say that in air quotes. And then we put a new plane, and I believe I do that so I can sketch on it for our revolve. That's coming up next. Yep, and I get all of this in one feature. So there's my sketch. Yep, and I can well, this is all fully defined. So yeah, there it is. A revolve will give us a handle for our presumably small hero to wield. Plane 7. What do you do? Alright. Whoops, too much. Just let it think for a second. Oh man. Got through our favorite part. So, plane 7, I believe I use to sketch what I expect to be the cross section of this little ribbon here. So, going to our sweep, okay, that loaded pretty quickly, considering the computational expense of that. So, yep, there's our profile, 50 thou by 375 thou, and I normally do not like doing this. Honestly, 3D splines unconstrained are extremely difficult to control, and they can very easily break even if you're just ever so slightly dragging the point. So I'm going to be careful as I show you what exactly I did in the sketch. So let's edit our sketch. Yeah, so I was feeling cocky this day, and I thought, gonna be a good challenge, 3D spline. So there it is. That's the way to do it. And every point was very carefully placed, and I see that the curvature here is not the greatest. I mean, when you consider it in this direction, there's like a little bit of a bump where this around where this drag handle is. But I'm very satisfied with the outcome, honestly. So Solidworks said the path was okay, which was surprising, and it swept my rectangle along. Well, let's get out of 3D Sketch, along that path. And let's take a closer look at the sweep. So I believe if you try and sweep a path like that along, you try and sweep a profile like along a path like this, it's really gonna want to twist. So yeah, actually, orientation and twist type, I just told it follow path, which I believe is default, and I just gave it an alignment, a direction vector, and I just picked an edge going vertical like that. So it just keeps that profile aligned and actually makes it look like a ribbon. And start and end tangency are both path tangent. So there you go. You can see we have a little bit of funkiness going around in this area, but that is to be expected with something of this nature. Overall, very satisfied on the look of the ribbon. I think that was the hardest part of this. Just trying to control that 3D spline so it doesn't go rogue and destroy the world, whatever. Alright, so I perform a combine, and here we have our basis for the card. It's all fused to get together. It's a template. How cool is that? Do another combine. Okay, so I combine everything that's not the ribbon, and then I just combine the ribbon. I might have had problems trying to do it all at once, or maybe I just wanted to suppress a feature if I wanted to tweak the ribbon, and that is very possible. So boss extrude 9. Notice that nothing happened, but that's probably because okay, I see. So I ended up wanting to 3D print this, and to make it possible, I just hide a small strut just to support this ribbon a little bit, and it's literally just a slot that I extrude up to surface, and I just pick the bottom part of that. Cut extrude. Alright, this one was quite fun too, so we can look at it. Alright. I normally don't like doing this, but yeah, you could see that I fell into the fully defined sketch, and I just had a bunch of lines and splines and arcs put together, and I just hid the body and just follow the curve. You can do this with splines, lines, analytical geometry, any level of detail. I chose a high level of detail. So let's revive our solid body. You can see our feature list is getting quite long, and I'm very satisfied with the way that looks. That looks kind of awesome. Extrude number 10. What have you in store for us? Okay, that is another strut, and that's just 2 slots. I extrude up to surface again. I'm not sure why I did this one, then thought to myself, let's draw this out and then come back to it. But just depending on your workflow. Extrude 11. Ooh, now this here's something that's kind of fun. Whoops. Hid the body. Come back. There we go. Sketch 30. Now, you can download, I forget where I found it, but a quick Google search will find you the proper font that Blizzard uses in its HearthStone cards. So download that and just install it on your PC. Let's edit the sketch. So here I put Saber, from Fate Stay Night. And what I do is I draw a spline, good old spline, and booting up the text. Just give it a minute to think, but I just drew the spline and just have it as a curve to follow in this box over here, and that will make the text follow along the ribbon. Nothing too nefarious here. Alright, let's close that down. And we can see that Solidworks likes to think about that a lot. Okay. And also, the way I extruded it is I had this on a plane. Let's see what plane I had it on. Okay, just the top plane. Alright, so what I did was had the sketch on the top plane, put the offset to be above where we need it to be, and you can just tweak this around, extrude down to surface, and that will give you our very good looking 3D title text. Awesome. Alright, extrude 12. Let's see as it thinks, and I may start. Okay, so no, I do more texting on the top. So same thing, draw on the top plane, type in a number to make your overpowered card. Offset, I believe I have the same offset as this surface is at the same height as this surface to be consistent. And same thing, extrude down until it extrude up to next, I believe is what I do for this one, since there's like multiple surfaces there. So up to next, same thing here, and rinse and repeat for our health. Very good. I'm the best card balancer, aren't I? So, moving on. Yes, we start with the back. So Boss Extrude 15 gives us our thickness of the back. So I just kind of double the thickness. You know, it's getting really thick, but I really like the look of it. Just bringing it to life. So sketch 35 gives us, this is our sketch picture. Yeah, we need to know how the back of the other card looks like. So, since we're done with the front, we're gonna hide this away. So here's our back, just a standard card back. Yep. And moving right along, I make a plain 8. Sketch 36 gives us this line. Sketch 37 gives us this point. And why it looks like it's floating there is because I hid one of the bodies. So let's bring that back. Alright, so yeah, this is going to be, I guess, the edge part of the card, which looks to me like it has a triangular cross section that is swept along the edge. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So yeah, so I make a path right on the card back, and then a 3D sketch. All I do was connect the line that I had defined in an earlier sketch and that one point that I also defined in an earlier sketch. This is a technique that I like to do. It keeps the 3D sketches easy to staple down and easier to control. So there's that. Putting that away. Hide. Hide. And using the very same profile and just giving it a new path, we'll go ahead and do that. But you see, look at how it handled this. Does not look that good at all. I mean, you have this little sliver garbage face that's just kind of hanging next to this that is not doing enough of the job. But we will fix that. So here at this point, start working on the center. So yeah, more of the same thing. I just defined a triangle using the two planes in a 3D sketch, and I just put a circle as its path. Revolution. Okay, so it doesn't look like much of anything. I'm gonna have to turn off rotate around scene floor to really get a look at it. But that's dome. That's like a dome. And actually, come to think of it, if I was a wiser man back then, I probably would have just used the dome feature, just a small extrude and just a little bit of dome. But this also works. So you see, I have a spline coming in like that, and you notice that I said this in a previous video too, if you want things to blend evenly, if it's going to be mirrored or revolve like that, you need at least a tangent relationship to the horizontal. So that's what we see here, and then we revolve about that axis. So heading that away, and we'll continue moving on. And yeah, there's our new plane. I believe I set it. Let's let it think a little bit. Alright, it's fine. Set it coincident with that. And I'm going to turn back, rotate about scene floor. That's how I keep my models from just scooting all over the place. Some people don't like it. I like it. Matter of preference. Okay, so I perform a split. I'm gonna see why in a second. So yeah, I put a plane here and here to make a plane there, and I split. Now time for a loft. Okay, the reason I do that is that it makes 3D sketching easier. I have points that I can attach to. So there you go. Well, not 3D sketch, these are just regular sketches. But yeah, I just have a base sketch of this little arrow thing going to a point, and I put the point right on our convenient new cut line, and that makes it blend in really nice and smoothly. Circular pattern, nothing too astonishing there, and I believe I do it with bodies. Another loft, there's more of the same thing. Another circular pattern, bet you didn't see that one coming. And we have a whole bunch of bodies sitting around, so let's just combine them all. That looks pretty neat. So cut extrude 5 is probably, yep, we have our HearthStone logo. Yet again, it's a little bit different than the one on the front. I may have traced this one out too. It depends on how much time you want to spend / have. Oh, and now we get to the fun part. We're gonna fix this. This is not satisfactory. So delete face. Just delete both of them. And we're just going to bridge it together with a boundary surface. And I'm going to turn off rotate about scene floor again so we can get the nice view. So I surface from here to here, just coincident to the edges, nothing too crazy. And now we notice we have 3-sided holes, and for 3-sided holes we need to use surface fill. This is very important. If you try and use a loft, a lofted surface or a boundary surface, you're gonna get what's called a degenerate surface. And there's other content on that on YouTube, and maybe I'll make a video on it later. But it's basically when the mathematics used to define the surface, the curves come together at one point, and Solidworks gets confused about what to do with it if you thicken it. So that doesn't happen with with surface fill. So that is the way to go. So surface fill, and this is still a surface body, so I actually just repeat that 4 times. I probably could have put a whole bunch of planes and have that as a separate body, and then mirror it over. But I think it was just simpler to just do it over 4 times. So that's what all of that is. So there we go. It's looking way better, and those of you who are astute observers will notice the blue outlines, meaning that the surface is not knitted again. We'll need our sewing needles. So there you go, knitted together again. And I have the graphics option turned on, that whenever 2 faces are at least tangentially related to each other, it will display it as a phantom line. Some people think this is strange, but I think it's really helpful because I can tell without booting up zebra stripes or curvature display that the surface is nice and contiguous. So that doesn't that look much better now? So I end up deleting a body. Okay, so that's about it. There's your Hearthstone card. Because every operation after that was just me. Let me hide this picture away. It was just me preparing this for 3D printing. So let me get rotate about scene 4 back. So there you have it. I'm really satisfied with the way this came out, and the way I prepare for 3D printing is that I split the bodies along this center. I use body, delete, and keep. So you basically do this with each half. So I take this body, export it to an STL, and then you send it to your 3D printer with whatever method you like to use. So actually what I did was I used the body, delete, and keep, and you don't see it because I deleted the feature, but I actually deleted this whole thing out and just kept this one, exported this whole thing to STL. So if I were to hide it to simulate, so I deleted, I say that in air quotes again, and just sent this as an STL to be 3D printed. And then, whoops, because the body's hidden, come back. So I tried printing this out, but I was ending up warping. What I ended up doing was I ended up cutting using a plane that's coincident with this curve here. I split it, and I just 3D print these little pieces alone. But going back to pre-printing thing, there is your Hearthstone card. I hope you like it. I will be providing the model on GrabCAD, and of course the link will be in the description. If you have any requests, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.